YouTube, Magnum Prime here, and today we're taking a look at DX9's offering of Masterpiece Dragstrip. If you're new to my channel, thanks for dropping by. If you enjoy the review, please be sure to hit the subscribe and the like button. It massively helps me out and I really appreciate it. Now, we don't normally look at the boxes in these reviews because I just don't want to, frankly. No other reason than that. But in this case, I'm going to make an exception because look at the name. They've called it Dragstrip. They've just gone out and called it Dragstrip. I thought this was going to be called Giuliano. I think that's how it's pronounced. It's a gangster kind of reference, like all the other names in the set. But no, they've just gone and called it the proper G1 name. Perhaps because DX9 are finishing, which personally I think is really sad. They've been very hit and miss with lots of the figures, but they have been a mainstay of the third-party kind of lineup for a number of years now. And I personally, I like the playability of their figures. That it's a real feature that you can actually pick up a Masterpiece figure, play with it, transform it, all of those kind of things. So personally, very sad. But yeah, they've gone and done that, and perhaps a little nod to the other third-party Menasor competitors. Only the first across the finish line can survive, because of course they are actually the first to complete their third-party Menasor. So hats off to them, and I just thought I'd show off the box there. In terms of accessories, there's just the one, which is the blaster, and it's painted beautifully actually. It's got a really nice purple metallic finish to it. It's got a little bit of detail on there to break up the sculpt, but to all intents and purposes, it is just a really good toon representation of Dragstrip's blaster. Good stuff. In terms of the practicalities, there's no standard Masterpiece tab to grip it into the fist, but it does sit quite snugly in there and will just about pass a wobble test. Obviously, if you close the fist, it will stay in quite securely. And that's it for accessories. There's not much really. It's a little bit basic, but what they've done well. So there you go. I'm going to give it 7 out of 10. So starting with the head, it's on a ball and it's extremely tight. It feels like it's sort of stressing the plastic underneath on mine, so I just want to be careful with that, would be my advice. In theory though, it does swivel all the way around, full 360, and it's got a little bit of a look up and a little bit of a look down. I'm not sure if it has more. I don't want to stress it too much, to be frank. The shoulders have got a full 360 rotation all the way around and a full 90 degrees out to the side, which is good actually, because you've got all this kibble up here. They've managed to incorporate that. That's really good. The biceps have got a double swivel, one down here and also one here, just due to transformation. The elbows have got 90 degrees, and I've double checked and triple checked that because on my previous video for Make Toys Downbeat, I made the mistake of wrongly accusing it of only having a 90 degree bend, so apologies for that, but this one definitely only has 90. The wrists have got a swivel all the way around, and the fingers are articulated, but the last 3 are fused together in a single lump, and then you've got a separate trigger finger. Down at the waist, you've got a full 360 rotation and a decent ab crunch. For the legs, you've got individual hip skirts on both sides, which is good, and you've got a full extension out to the front and a decent extension out to the back, and then all the way out to the side. This is all a tension joint. The thigh swivel is there, but it's in a little bit of a weird place. You kind of do it midway up the thigh as opposed to swiveling the whole thigh, so just be aware of that. And the knees, they're in a really strange place actually. I think I'd prefer it if they were down here, but they're actually up here, so it's quite a strange knee bend, but it does have 90 degrees. The feet have got a really decent ankle rocker, but no toe tilt. You can sort of do the transformation kind of thing to tilt the toe if you want, but he doesn't have much stability down there if you do. As it is, there is this forward kind of bevel on the front of the foot, which does allow you to get a kind of running effect if you want. Now, just talking about stability, he is a little bit unsteady on his feet, and it's not because he's back heavy or anything like that, because he's such a skinny bot. It's just due to the way the feet work. I think it could have done with having a heel spur at the back, but you've got these pieces here and they've just got a little upwards curve, which in some poses just means he rocks back a little bit, particularly if you're doing anything with a swivel. He just doesn't have much in that respect. So overall posability in places is very good, but in other places is very limited, and there are a couple of issues, so 6 out of 10. So for a size comparison, here he is with Op Leader and MP36, and you can see he's very much bigger than your traditional MP scaled Carbot, which is roughly where I would put the Stunticons So yeah, that's what they've done. He's big, but to be fair, you know, Fans Toys, their Carbots, their Stunticons, I should say, they're big too, and it's only really the X-Transbots that have kind of tried to approximate the kind of correct scale in bot mode. So there you go, comparisons. So in terms of presence, I think they've done a really good job on this. The overall look of the bot is fantastic. He stands out on the shelf, looks great. The face sculpt in particular, I think they've absolutely nailed that. Little QC issue on mine is that the red paint doesn't come down all the way on the visor, so it looks like he's got eye bags. Maybe that's just my copy though, I don't know. If we kind of compare him to the G1 Toon, you can see, I mean, it's Masterpiece Dragstrip, you can't deny it. I think he cleans up fantastically from the front. He cleans up fantastically from the side and the back as well. Really, really good stuff. Little niggly bits for me, I think, are the way the fists look. They kind of just sat at a weird alignment on the arm there. If they'd have been a bit more central, that would have been better. But also, you've got these visible mushroom pegs in here, which it just breaks the look a little bit, you know. But the rest of it is kind of so well done. I think you kind of don't notice that, particularly with it being all one uniform color. It's just a little bit of finish there, really. So overall, I think the presence is very, very good on this figure. 9 out of 10. So if we start with the paint, I think at first glance, it's a brilliant job. And, you know, I've had all 5 figures in this release, in this set, and to look at visually, this is the best finished, because you've got this nice gold paint here on the front and down on the legs, up in the midriff and down on the side. You've got the silver piece here in the middle. The head's got a really nice paint in it as well. There's metallic purple and this orange. It's all at a glance really, really good stuff. There are, when you get up close, a couple of little issues. You've got the purple bleeding onto the red there, and also, you know, I mentioned the visor, it's not fully painted down, and a couple of little paint chips on the gold on mine. They don't show it particularly well on the camera. I think one on the side there might, just this bit here, it's quite reflective. Just little noticeable things, to be honest. At a glance on the shelf, no, you're not going to pick them up, of course you're not, but when you get up close, you probably will. The biggest issue quality-wise for me is the build of the figure on this one. Everything's a tension joint on this, and it really could do with some ratchets, just due to the size of it and the kind of gangly awkwardness of it. And the biggest one for me is the waist, because look at that. I mean, it just flops forward. Now, I'm not saying you should put a ratchet in the waist, because that wouldn't work for an ab crunch, but it needs some more tension, definitely. And if this is kind of the general build of all these other joints, I don't know how this is going to hold up over time. Some of it feels quite smooth at the moment, and that smoothness might translate into looseness as time wears on. Now, you know, if this thing's just going to be an arm for you on Menasor, then that's probably not much of an issue. But if it's a standalone bot, then it's definitely something to take note of. So overall, the quality is there to look at, but I think it's superficial, and underneath it's not particularly great. So I'm going to give it 6 out of 10. So the transformation for me, I think, is absolutely excellent on this figure. Really, really happy with it. It kind of goes back to the initial promise of Capone. I thought some of the kind of moves in the engineering in that were fantastic, and I think this figure recreates that, particularly the way the arms kind of fold out from here to get to where they need to be. But just all over it, it's really smooth, really intuitive, and it's a fun transformation. Really good stuff. There's a little bit of tightness down here where you're kind of unpegging the legs from the main body, but if you're careful with it, just, you know, do things in the right order, and it's absolutely fine. So yeah, 9 out of 10. Good stuff. So the alt mode on this figure is absolutely beautiful. They've really, really done themselves proud. I think it's the best of all the Limbots in terms of finish and overall aesthetic and look. It looks fantastic. It looks really clean. It rolls like a champ. It's brilliant. It just all round good stuff. But there is one glaring nickel, which is, hello, there he is in the middle. I think this is a massive, massive kind of flaw, personally. I know you can't see it from most angles, but that's a big no-no. You can try and turn the head around on the transformation. I did give it a go, but you run the risk of rubbing the nose up on the inside panel, and personally I didn't want to risk paint chip on mine because yeah, that's not good. You shouldn't have to do that though. It's yeah, that aside, like I said, it's brilliant. Oh, I should mention it's got rubber wheels. I'm really surprised at that. I thought they were plastic from the photos that I'd seen, so nice touch. Really good alt mode. Just one massive flaw, and it's the only reason I'm going to mark it down. 7 out of 10. So there we have it. Adding it all together, he gets a final score of 7.3 out of 10. And you know what? This is a good version of Masterpiece Dragstrip. It's not fully there in terms of Masterpiece quality and finish and design and a couple of other things for me personally, but it is a very good, I don't want to say effort because that sounds harsh, but it is a good bot, put it that way. It's just got niggles and stuff. If you've been collecting this to completely set though, I think you'd be happy with it, and particularly, you know, you'll be the first one to get fully combined Masterpiece Scale Menasor. If you're collecting all three of the offerings, then obviously you've got those to look forward to as well, and you can kind of compare them. Personally, I decided to pass on this because, as I say, for me it's not quite there in terms of Masterpiece, but nonetheless it is a good offering. And like I said at the beginning, it's a shame that DX9 are finishing because I think they do put out good figures, but for me, just a few niggles on this set. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the review. If you have, please hit the subscribe and the like button. It really helps me out. I really appreciate it. But yeah, take care and bye for now.